Now, some people do like to add highlighting to their outlines. The vocabulary words are highlighted in the textbook, so they like to highlight it also on their notebook. So I'm just going to highlight this. That is completely optional. The only thing you absolutely must do with the vocabulary is underline it and write the definition. So that's just an option. And I'm going to continue on for the rest of this column showing you some of the other little tricks that people do just to kind of help organize their outline. Starting with letter D. Letter D is a blue heading, another important heading. I'm going to use a blue pen to write the heading for letter D, just to draw it out as that important heading. Again, this is not required. You can do it if you want to. It's a complete option. But we're looking for our next blue heading. We can kind of read through the next page, read through the table, take a look at the drawings, and then we're on to page 8. That's where our letter D heading is. Scientists as citizens and citizens as scientists. Pause the video while you write out that heading. Okay, so the blue heading is written in blue, and then I'm going to switch back to my regular pen color or pencil, whatever you're using, and we're going to do a summary sentence. So once again, just like previous summary sentences, you're reading the paragraph or paragraphs that are underneath that blue heading, and you're writing a summary sentence. This is a number 1 underneath that big heading. Pause the video while you read the paragraph and write your summary sentence. There is my summary sentence for the paragraph. I just went with the first sentence underneath the heading. I thought that was a good summary of what we were going for in that sentence. And then we're on to another blue heading. So you kind of read through, take a look at your pictures, and then go to your next blue heading, and there it is, our environment through time. I'm going to write with my blue pen for this one. Pause the video while you write out your heading. And with this one, we also have a summary sentence for the first paragraph, and then it looks like we'll have a red heading after that. So put a number 1, going back to my regular color, a number 1 underneath the heading, and read the paragraph, writing your summary sentence. Pause the video. There is our summary sentence there. I'm going to put an X next to blue heading, put an X next to summary sentence. Did both of those. Now we're on to our red heading, number 2. And you can follow along here. Hunters, gatherers is that number. Once again, notice how the numbers line up with one another. And write out hunter-gatherers. Under this one, we notice in our framework it says there is an italicized word, and that one, when you look into the paragraph, is hunter-gatherers. It's the same as the heading, but we are still going to rewrite the word, particularly because it's an italicized word. Write your letter A on your paper, and then for italicized words, we write out the entire sentence that that's in and underline it. Pause the video while you do that. Okay, so that was my italicized sentence. I'm just checking to make sure I underline the italicized word. Looks like I did. So again, with italicized words, make sure you underline the italicized word and you write out the entire sentence that it is in. Next up, I'm going to just get you started on this column, and then I'll have you pause the video and meet me when you reach figure 3. But let's go ahead and write down our next number from the outline framework over here. First, I'm going to put an X next to this. I already did that. And then the red heading is number 3. It's still slightly indented from the side. So even though I'm on a new page, I'm still indenting it slightly. And after hunter-gatherers, we'll keep reading, we come to the agricultural revolution. At this point, I'm hoping you kind of have a hang of how things are done for these outlines. And I'm going to let you go ahead and do the next column all the way until you hit figure 11. So take your time, write all of this section right here. And when you get to figure 11 on page 13, we will restart the video there. And here we are. You should have completed most of the second column of your outline here. I've X'd off all of these items. And we are at figure 11, which is on page 13. Figure 11, you can see over here on the side, it's a graph. And with figures, you want to make sure to label everything. What I mean by that is make sure you write the title, the labels here. You'll label the years, though you don't need to label all of the years. You'll see when I do my drawing in a minute. And then you have to write the description. What a lot of people like to do is write the description first and then do the drawing. So I'm going to take my regular pen, and I'm going to write figure 11. I even like to underline it. You don't have to, but then I'm going to write the description there. Pause the video here while you write down the description that's underneath the figure. Okay, now that I have now that I've written out the description for the figure, I'm going to go ahead and draw the figure. It does not need to be perfect. What you do need to make sure is that you're capturing the idea that the picture is supposed to be showing. So this is showing how rapidly our population has grown in the last couple hundred years since the Industrial Revolution. So pause the video, draw your figure, and then we will meet there at the end. Okay, so that's good enough for me. Once again, the point is that it captures the idea that it's supposed to show, that the population has just skyrocketed since the Industrial Revolution. So it doesn't have to be the exact drawing, and I don't really judge anybody's artistic ability when it comes to figures. Now, I'm going to let you go ahead and continue into the next column with the final blue heading, letter G. Pause the video while you do, while you do this first part here, and then stop when you get to table 2 and turn the video back on. Okay, so you should have completed letter G and these first few items that are underneath it. We are now on table 2. Table 2 is on page 14. And when I scroll down here, I see that it is this green table right here. When you do tables, there's no description that goes along with it. You are basically just copying the table down. I'm going to go ahead and start copying that. It is number 3. So I'm going to write number 3 and then table 2, and then draw my table here. Pause the video while you draw your table. And there is my table. As you notice, it is not exactly the same as the table up in the textbook itself, but it is close enough and it captures the materials that we needed to do for that table. The next thing on the outline, I'm going to cross off that table. The next thing is your red heading. And I will say that when I did this outline earlier, I accidentally went to the next page for the next heading, but that would be a mistake. So your next heading is actually number 4, pollution. Making mistakes on outlines happens all the time and it can get really confusing. So let me show you what I did earlier when I did this outline. You basically just finish up where you're at. So what happened was let me find it here. I accidentally, instead of writing number 4, pollution, I wrote number 4, loss of biodiversity. I accidentally skipped that whole paragraph. And I did everything that was for that section on biodiversity. that's when I realized, whoops, I missed pollution. So I went back and I just crossed off the number 4 and wrote number 5. And then finished by going back to the section on pollution and doing the things that I needed to do for that section. So if you ever want to just mark it up like this, you could even draw an arrow if you want to, just to sort of tell me that, hey, I messed up, but the information is still there. Don't get frustrated or feel like you need to completely restart an outline because you messed up one letter. You can also squeeze things into the top. You can write things in the margins, whatever you have to do so you don't have to completely rewrite your entire outline. So I'll let you guys finish up the last few items on your outline. So there is outlining in a nutshell for you. I'm hoping this is a valuable skill that you'll be able to use not only in this class, but in other classes when you're trying to pull important information out of a textbook. Just a reminder to make sure that you are letting the information take a pit stop in your brain while you're writing it down on the paper. I do want this to be a worthwhile activity for you. You will continue to see outline frameworks like this. I won't be walking you through how to do an outline again, but if you have any questions at all, please don't hesitate to ask for help. I understand that a new skill like this can take some time to get used to, but I assure you, you will get the hang of it.